Welcome, Bitcoin fam, to No One Daily Bitcoin Pod. We did recapture 110 just a short while ago. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as the Bitcoin price seeking $155,000 trigger. Also breaking news, Trump Media Group to raise $3 billion to buy Bitcoin and crypto, according to the Financial Times. And Max says he's the employee of the month. Go Trumpster. Also, that 40x Bitcoin whale James Nguyen just increased his long position to 645 million. Quoting him here, he says Bitcoin is about to explode. Send it. We'll also be discussing strategy bags 4,020 Bitcoin. Happy 420 as the price briefly breaks 110 G's, baby. We'll also be discussing DDC Enterprise buys 21 Bitcoin, kicking off a plan to scoop 5,000 Bitcoin within the next 3 years. We'll also be discussing the crypto ETPs see 3.3 billion worth of the weekly inflows, topping 10.8 billion year to date. Also, big news out of Florida, moving to scrap capital gains tax on crypto and stocks and their new bull proposal, and that would include obviously all Bitcoin gains. We'll also be discussing breaking news, 1.5 million within the next few years, according to the biggest names, predicting massive debt-driven Bitcoin rally. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe, then ring that sexy little bell, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every day. And just like this, today is pod episode 2003. I'm your host, JV. It's May 26, 2025. Bitcoin recaptured 110 a little while ago. Currently, we're hovering just above 109.2 at the time of the live stream. And this is the big week of the Bitcoin conference with 30,000 Bitcoiners swarming, Cyber Hornet style, Wu-Tang Killer Bee style in Las Vegas. And you already know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But let's kick it off with our market watch as we do every day. You should be able to see Coin 360 on your screen. Yesterday, everything was in the bulk of the red. Today, everything back in the green. You got to dig it. And I got the caffeine in the bloodstream naturally, and Ether being at virtually everything in the green for today. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. Let's get a refresh, JV. Total crypto market cap's in at 3.4 trillion, all-time high 3.75 trillion. Bitcoin market cap 2.17 trillion and 107 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back on a rise. 63.4% Ether dominance stagnated at 9%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. Jupe leading the pack, followed by Virtual and Ray. Let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for the bull. Holla at your Nippinator. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index today, virtually everything in the green. We love to see this. And zooming out for the weekly, let's say pretty divided. I'd say 60-40, green over red. And zooming out on the monthly. And JV got the Blensky. And I'd say 80-20, green over red. Overall, pretty bullish for the last 30 days. And checking out the infamous Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today we're 73 in greed. Yesterday 74. Last week is 74. And last month a 65. Do you see some divine 11-11 omens? I do. 7 plus 4 is an 11 and 6 plus 5 is an 11. Hence 11-11-11, the God frequency. And if you don't know, now you know. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar. We have 151,527 blocks until the halving of 2028, when Bitcoin could potentially be 10 million per coin. There's no telling. Bitcoin has no top because Janet Yellen just won't stop saying bananas. Just saying. And we're currently on block number 898,473. And as of today, you can exchange 907 or $1 for 917 sats. So you know what to do, broskies. Pick up the sats, put down the gats, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. And if you don't know, maybe now you know. I hope so. And if you don't, what are we going to do with you? Now for our TA, aka astrology for the baddies after the infamous freeze frame, of course. Bitcoin price $655,000 trigger. The wonderful thing about Bitcoin is Bitcoin is a wonderful thing. And let's just dive right into the 5 most bullish elements of the week. Bitcoin price discovery on the radar after the rebound. That's a given, right? Because we just recaptured 110 here shortly ago, and I'll pull up the live chart, show you what I'm talking about here. You're looking at the weekly chart. So the bullish momentum has resumed now for the new week. How high do you think the preload biddy likely to go? You tell me. Quoting one of the analysts, not a great looking weekly candle for the all-time high break. Generally, you want to see strong continuation, especially considering the $2 billion of the ETF inflows, which we'll dive deeper into later in the stream. Forecasting the interest in week, Dan Crypto Trades referenced the ongoing popularity of the U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs, which took in $2.75 billion, which is pretty significant. And like I said, we'll touch upon that in a bit. Quoting analysts here, clean breakout from consolidation, retest underway. If the structure holds the next target zone 155 in sight, momentum only needs a trigger. They could trigger me, but they'll never figure me out. Stacking the biddy. Bond yields also meet the PCE in a tough macro week, which is about to begin. Quoting another analyst here, it's like clockwork. President Trump delays 50% EU tariffs until July 19th. Then the 10-year note yield instantly rises back to 4.5%. Trading resource Kobisi letter shared. Trade deals are no longer containing the bond market, and I ain't talking about James Bond in this mofo. Next up, exchange flash bearish momentum signal. Oh no, where's the bat signal when you need it? This indicates a cooling in the market order, aggressiveness on both sides, often a precursor to the reduced short-term momentum and increased uncertainty. Quoting analysts here, current data points to the turning point of the market sentiment, with buyer exhaustion growing and volatility accelerating like a Porsche with a Ferrari. Just saying. The likelihood of the short-term correction increases. Price action may test support near 105 if the bearish pressure intensifies. Meanwhile, Hyperliquid Win heads to the meme coins. And in fact, remember, he had like a $1.25 billion long with 40x leverage. We covered it in the pod 2 episodes ago. Then he flipped it short once we hit 108. Now he flipped it back long and game on. That's right. The initial 125 million long position was exited at the loss thanks to the latest tariff headlines, but he is now back bullish, and I'll share with you in a second the actual tweet of his, but this is something he did share. I'll read it to you on X. He says, to all the fans and the haters, we all have good run gamblings on perpetuals. At peak, the account was up 87 million in profits from 3 to 4 mil. Now decided to leave the casino with my 25 million in profit. It's been fun, but now is the time for me to walk away a winner. Win 1-0 against the haters. Take that. Mofos. Pretty wild. And again, I'll share with you some more insights here in a second regarding that. Also, be on the lookout. Funding rates boost short squeeze bets. Quoting Crypto Quant, sentiment is calm. No over leveraged longs are piling in this time. This is one of the healthiest Bitcoin breakouts in a long time. Looks right to move a lot higher, and that's precisely my sentiment. I feel next leg up in play, 120K. Send it. Could be the big week. And also, I shared that tweet. Let me share with you some other breaking news. Trump Media Group to raise $3 billion to buy Bitcoin and crypto, according to the Financial Times. Kaiser's calling Trump the employee of the month. So thank you, POTUS. Also, that 40x Bitcoin whale, James Wynn increased his long position, 645 million, which we were just touching upon. And he does say Bitcoin is about to explode literally right here. Operation F the Bears in full effect. And pulling up some of the live charts, as I promised. Just give me a second to pull her up. And again, welcome everyone joining us on this fantastic Memorial Day celebration for the Bitcoin price rise to a new all-time high. This special day, I dare say. 10x from the cable guy. Let me tell you something. McFoofinator, what it do? You already know, higher ends for the higher lows. But yeah, let's run through this really quick, starting with the 1 hour. You can see we have the green bullish momentum continuing to pick up. Bullish pennant formation sensation. 116.3 in play. I repeat, 116.3 in play. The question is, will it happen today? Yay, nay. No diddy, no gay. Holla at your boy. Let me know in that chat. And zooming out a little further, we'll check out a 4 hour, the Quattro. And as you can see, we hit 110 this morning, had a little bit of an itty-bitty pullback, making our way back at the time of the live stream, floating at around 109.3. Bullish pennant formation sensation, 116.3 on the 4 hour in play. And that's right. And zooming out a little further, we'll take a look at the daily. And the daily says it's going up forever, Laura. That's right. The rising wedgie, the only wedgie I approve of personally. And zooming out a little further, you know, yesterday we got the weekly close. Let's take a quick look. And here's the bullish silver lining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green consecutive weekly closes. And the 8th week, which just kicked off officially today already, showing in the green. New all-time highs in play. Price discovery in play. We also have a sexy cup and handle target at 124. And if you don't know, what are you doing with your life? I mean, please stack some biddies or forever regret it and, say nothing about it. I mean, you can't really complain because at the end of the day, we all pay for the biddy at the price we deserve. And whether you paid 25 cents like a Max Kaiser, or you paid 25,000, or you paid 250,000 or 2.5 million, that's on you, broskies. You know what I mean? And zooming out for the monthly. Zooming out on the monthly. Looky here. So yeah, last month was very bullish. This month is forming very bullish, already outpacing last month, and we still got like another 5 days left to go. And again, price discovery in play, new all-time highs. Send it and let's motivate and go. Now let's continue with the news. Michael Saylor, as like clockwork, yesterday he posted the Saylor tracker, which is a foreshadowing ultimately to announcing a major purchase. And lo and behold, he announced the major purchase this morning of 4,020 Bitcoin. So let's break down our next story. Strategy bags 4,020 Bitcoin. That one's dedicated to you, Facts. As price briefly breaks 110,000 here this morning. That's right. Saylor Strategy, the world's largest corporate Bitcoin investor, bagged the fresh stash of the biddy as the price briefly surged above 110. Strategy acquired 4,020 Bitcoin for $427 million between May 19th and the 23rd. The latest purchases were made at an average price of 106 per coin, with Bitcoin smashing past 110,000 for the first time May 22nd. In fact, we even touched 112, which is the current all-time high price discovery level. And here's the official tweet from Strategy. They acquired 4,020 Bitcoin for $427 million at 106 per Bitcoin and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 16.8% year to date. 2025. As of May 25th, we hodl 580,250 Bitcoin acquired for $40 billion at 69.9 per biddy. Game on. I mean, the Giga Chat is just like, this is unprecedented Bitcoin accumulation clearly, and it's birthing a lot of competitors as far as Bitcoin treasury companies, which we've been seeing come out of the woodwork. Strategy's new Bitcoin acquisition followed a series Class A sales strategy. Also, according to Strategy's report of the proposed sale of securities filed on May 22nd, Patton sold 2,600 MSTR shares in the period between May 16th and the 21st, worth $1.1 million. There's another divine omen right there. And additionally, Strategy's chief financial officer, Andrew Kang, sold 2,100 shares, netting $719,000, which was all filed in the report. Strategy's new purchase reflects Saylor's philosophy of acquiring Bitcoin no matter how high the price goes. That's right. He says he'll be buying the top forever because it's going up forever, Laura. And in the meantime, Strategy shares have been tumbling from their all-time highs. Oh my God, losing 12% in the past week. Still the greatest performing stock out of the entire S&P, I dare say, since adopting the Bitcoin treasury strategy. With the prices falling from around 420 to 369, I'd say that's a great buy the dip opportunity. The highest historic closing price on record for MSTR stock was 474. That was back in November. Just FYI, back when we eclipsed the hundo mark. And a recent drop of Strategy shares came after the company was hit with a class action lawsuit alleging it misrepresented Bitcoin investments, which we all know is FUD, right? Filed on May 19th, the suit seeks to recover losses. Ultimately, it's some disgruntled shareholders that are pissed off that the company is buying Bitcoin, which makes no sense. Then why are you invested in Microstrategy? It's a Bitcoin acquisition company. Yeah, I mean, but you can't fix stupid. But with that being shared, let me know your thoughts with the latest from the Giga Chat and their Bitcoin buying spree. And back to the chat. What it do, Biddy fam? I heard the Fed is pumping the treasuries. Money printer go, brr. That's right. Just like those Budweiser frogs back in the day. Brr. Bud. Burr, bud, burr, bud, burr. DDC Enterprise buys 21 of the biddy, kicking off a plan to scoop up 5,000 of the BTC within the next 3 years. That's right. Hong Kong headquartered heat and eat meal seller DDC Enterprises has made its first ever Bitcoin purchase as part of a plan to buy 5,000 of the biddy over the next 3 years. The New York-listed DDC enterprise, also known as Day Cook, said on May 23rd it bought 21 of the Biddy in exchange for 254,000 shares in a deal valued at $2.28 million. The company added it plans on buying another 79 of the Biddy across 2 purchases in the coming days to bring its total Bitcoin stack to 100 BTC. The buys are part of the DDC's plan announced May 15th to acquire 5,000 of the Biddy over the next 3 years, with a goal of buying 500 Bitcoin before the end of this year. DDC's plans of 5,000 of the Biddy stack, if it held that much today, would land just outside of the top 10 public companies with the largest Bitcoin holdings, putting it just behind Japanese investment firm Metaplanet, which holds 7,800 BTC. Now, DDC Enterprise shares closed the May 23rd trading session down 14.5%, then rose 2.5% after the bell to $3.79. DDC is currently down 27%. Thus far this year. Let's see if it bounces back with their latest acquisition of the Biddy. China's appetite for the crypto has been ticking upward of the past few months, despite the country's year-long total ban on crypto transactions. For instance, Chinese electric vehicle retailer said on May 22nd its board approved a plan to purchase 1,000 Bitcoin over the next year by issuing shares of its company and buying directly the BTC. And again, the sailor put for the win. Earlier in the month, a report indicated the high net worth individual investors across Asia are moving away from the US dollar. Yeah, I don't blame them. To gold and Chinese-based assets. Last week, Hong Kong Legislative Council passed a stablecoin bill, which establishes a clear regulatory framework for the stablecoin issuers, with institutions likely able to apply for stablecoin issuance licenses by the year's end. Next story of the day, fam, regarding the ETPs, exchange-traded products. They see 3.3 billion in weekly inflows, topping 10.8 billion already. Year to date, Mom Spaghetti, he's nervous. But anyways, crypto investment products saw a sharp increase in inflows last week, driving year to date total above 10 billion, according to data from the European crypto investment manager, CoinShares. That's right, ETPs recorded 3.3 billion of inflows during the week ending May 24th, bringing total inflows year to date to a record 10.8 billion. That's all right. CoinShares head of research, James Butterfield, not to be confused with Butterbean, said total assets under management in the crypto ETPs briefly reached the all-time high of 187 billion. Good Lord. Reflecting strong investor interest. Institutional FOMO like a mofo. I coined that one. We believe the growing concerns over the U.S. economy, driven by the Moody's downgrade and the resulting spike of the Treasury yields, have prompted investors to seek diversification through digital assets. You damn straight. All hail the king of the Biddy. Bitcoin led last week's inflows to crypto ETPs with 2.9 billion, a quarter of the total inflows from 2024. As Bitcoin hit above 110 for the first time May 22nd, some investors turned to the short Bitcoin products, with inflows surging to 12.7 million, the highest since December of 2024. Meanwhile, Ether ETPs continue to see healthy inflows, totaling 326 million last week, marking a 5th straight week of gains as momentum continued following the successful Pectra upgrade that went live officially May 7th. And while the majority of the altcoin ETPs saw meager or even zero inflows, XRP ETPs were hit with massive outflows after posting an 80-week inflow streak. Interesting. XRP investment products posted 37 million of outflows, the largest on record, according to Butterfield. Now, the wave of the outflows for the XRP ETPs came amid the underperforming price, despite 2 key bullish developments for the asset, including a potential spot XRP ETF in the US and 2.2 billion in XRP futures. The latest CoinShares data marks another record-breaking milestone for the crypto ETPs, following a historic surge year-to-date of inflows from the previous week. Back in mid-May, crypto investment products added 785 million in new inflows, pushing the year-to-date total to 7.5 billion by May 16th, which is a very special day. That's my mom's birthday, by the way. Respect. Now, the new inflow record not only surpassed the previous peak of 7.2 billion recorded in February of 2025, but also recovered the nearly 7 billion of outflows seen during the subsequent price correction in February and March, according to Butterfield. But anyways, let's continue with the big news out of Florida. This is pretty awesome. Headline reads, Florida moves to scrap the capital gains tax on crypto and stocks in the new bold proposal. Come on, DeSantis. That's right. Florida presented a bill that proposes removing the state capital gains tax on crypto and traditional stocks. Passing that law would make California the first state to let these assets go untaxed, while the federal capital gains tax would not. be changed. Florida hopes to draw both retail and institutional investors with its tax break on digital and stock investments. I think it's a very smart move personally, and I know everyone in crypto would love it, especially us Floridians, right? The purpose of the bill is to make the state competitive by allowing businesses. Now, how many of you hypothetically would move to Florida, wherever you're currently living, if they pass that bill? And I know Surge is probably one of them, so let me know. In addition to providing relief for the crypto taxation, it now includes stocks, making it interesting for all traditional investors. The effort is part of Florida's objective to be the main location for the growth of digital assets and new financial systems. With the bill's approval, the tax change on crypto could begin immediately. I repeat, immediately, which would be one of the fastest regulatory moves for the state of Florida. And by explicitly including XRP alongside Bitcoin, the bill addresses assets that have seen regulatory uncertainties. The move could lead to a wider use of XRP in the state and help the local Bitcoin market. And you can see here, Florida introduces the bill to eliminate all capital gains tax on the Biddy. That's right. Now, experts are expecting capital gains tax exemptions in Florida to encourage people to invest more by not charging state taxes, trading and holding Bitcoin and XRP. So those are the two cryptos allegedly here, according to the bill, become more affordable for everyone. Florida could interest investors in buying, selling, or holding crypto, and consequently, it could encourage more people to use crypto in the state of Florida. You let me know if you think it'll likely pass. Obviously, Florida, in comparison to a lot of the other states, is very advantageous as it is, but it would totally be a no-brainer for investors and the crypto bros. And yeah, the law includes stocks that can change how traditional investments are planned. And because of the beneficial tax rules, traders and portfolio managers could decide to live in Florida or build up their stock investments. But you guys let me know so I can read those comments out loud. If the bill passes, it may start a ripple effect like dominoes. That's right. If it passes in Florida, there's a very good chance it can pass elsewhere. So DeSantis, do the right thing and let's remove capital gains taxes on Bitcoin. Now for our feature story of the day, 1 to 1.5 million per Bitcoin, according to the big names, predicting massive debt-driven Bitcoin price rally. Send it. Let's go parabolic, shall we? Now, you know, personally, I've been predicting my bear scenario for this year is 222,000, base case 420, bull scenario 1.1 million. Max Kaiser is calling for 2.2. You guys let me know your thoughts on that. Now, some prominent financial commentators and investment analysts are predicting long-term Bitcoin rallies that may send the price well above 1 million per coin before the end of the decade. That's right. And potentially within the next 3 years or even this year. In fact, Arthur Hayes, Just Blaze, is calling for 1 million per coin by the year 2028. Literally 3 years out by the time of the next halving. Let me know if you agree with that. Now let's discuss ARK Invest CEO, Miss Cathie Wood. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And her name was Cathie Wood, and she was stacking the Biddy. Let me know. But she says 1.5 million by 2030. In fact, she raised that target, I believe, to 2.8 as a bull scenario. But check this out. Wood said the price would require Bitcoin to grow at a compound annual rate of 58% over the next 5 years, largely fueled by the increased institutional adoption, hence what I coin institutional FOMO like a mofo. As you can see here, 2030 Biddy targets, bear case. And these are the old targets. She upped them and redid them. I know the new bear case is above 500,000, but the original 300,000, the base case original 710, and the bull case original 1.5 million. We also have Robert Kiyosaki. We all know Rich Dad Poor Dad author, who's calling for $1 million price by 2035, quoting him here. I strongly believe by 2035, one Bitcoin will be over 1 million. Gold will be 30,000 and silver 3,000 a coin, citing a record U.S. federal and credit card debt in 2025 as the main driver for the safe haven assets such as precious metals and the pretty little Biddy going up forever, Laura. The rising fiscal debt may lead to the biggest stock market crash in history, which could make investors very rich if they hedge by investing in just one Bitcoin or some gold or some silver. Other analysts, including Raoul Pao, have pointed to fiat currency debasement as the key reason behind Bitcoin's appeal as a hedge. We've also had Eric Trump talk about, Bitcoin hitting $1 million, which we did also cover on the stream. Check it. December of 2024, Eric Trump, son of the president, our POTUS, predicted Bitcoin hitting 1 million, citing its potential to transform the global economy in beautiful ways. I also like to add some things in here. Samson Mao, the founder of Jan 3, he's been calling for 1 million this cycle. So let that one sink in. Other analysts are calling for above 200,000 in 2025, including 10X Research CEO. Based on the latest price action, we could be hitting 122 here very soon, potentially this week. Quoting him here, we have been quite bullish over the last 5 or 6 weeks. We have been bearish coming out of the Trump inauguration in February, but we turned quite bullish. Open interest is high, I dare say. How high? So high that I can kiss the sky. How sick? So sick that you can fill in the blank. But the funding rate is low, which I think, and shout out Meth and Red, by the way. I think that indicates that, people try to short this rally, and adding that 122 remains the next significant price target to confirm the continuation of the Bitcoin rally. That's right. Bitcoin may extend its rally to a price top of over 200,000 by the end of 2025. Greg Foss, Canadian Bitcoiner, has put forth a model that can value the Bitcoin based on the basket of the G20 sovereign bonds, as he says here. Based on today's default probability across these G20 sovereign bonds, it is already above 200,000 for Bitcoin. And he added that growing concerns over sovereign credit risks and institutional inflows could be the catalyst for the big Bitcoin rally. I also like to add in there stock to flow model, power law model, all extremely bullish. Let's touch upon Plan B stock to flow model. If you're not familiar with it, it shows the Bitcoin price hovering between 500,000 a coin and a million coin between now and the next halving of 2028. So that gives us an average of 750,000 per coin, which can happen very realistically this cycle. The reality, folks, Bitcoin has no top because that dirty fiat monopoly money has no bottom. And if they continue to print till the wheels fall off and the pretty little money printer go, brr, who's to tell me how high Bitcoin can go, right? We've seen some craziness. I got involved in 2017. I saw Bitcoin rip from 1,500 to 20,000 in the same year, right? And I recall after Novid in March of 2020, Bitcoin crashed from 9,000 all the way down to 3,500. And then within 1 year, from March of 2020 to March of 2021, Bitcoin hit 60,000. And if it can do that, can it do it again? You tell me. History doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. And if it doesn't rhyme, will we have an extended cycle and just have bullish momentum continuing throughout what we would consider the bear, which would be after this year? Because typically it's the year preceding the halving, we hit the cycle peak, then 2 years of the winter. But what if it just continues with Bitcoin bulls dominating year after year? Now we have unprecedented demand. Now we got nation state adoption, proposing a Bitcoin strategic reserve in Panama. Look out for that big announcement this week over at the Bitcoin conference, as the mayor of Panama City is going to be speaking at the conference. And Max and Stacy already alluded to it, so you already know. And what about sovereign wealth funds out of Abu Dhabi already stashing and stacking the biddy? What about states like New Hampshire, which already made the law where they can start accumulating Bitcoin? What about Trump establishing, the digital asset reserve for the shitcoins, as well as the strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States of America, right? And as long as it's a budget neutral way, they can acquire as much Bitcoin as they like. What if they just print till the wheels fall off, trade that shitcoin monopoly money for the biddy? Pretty little bitty goes up, game theory in full effect, Bitcoin starts flipping and hitting new all-time highs, going from 100,000 to 200,000 to 500,000 to 1 milli. You guys, let me know your thoughts. And we're going to flip this into the extended, uncensored version of the pod. So if you're on the tube, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here. We're going to continue the stream on X and Rumble. Deuces to the tube.